Hi, I'm Mark McKillier with LiveAnabolic.com, and I've put together a list of 3 tips that's going to help you feel and look 10 years younger. Now, you need to stick around for tip number 3 because I bet most of you guys have never even thought of that one. All right, let's start with tip number 1, and that is move, move, move. Guys, we have to get off of our collective lazy asses and start moving. It's all this sedentary lifestyle is just literally killing us. So everything in our world around us has been designed and made to make things easier for us, okay? And that's fine to some degree. I'm not advocating you guys go out and hand wash your own clothes, okay? That's not what I'm talking about. But there's some simple tricks and things that we can do to get ourselves moving, just like we used to do when we were younger, okay? So the first one, guys, is bike or walk. Think how many times you used to bike or walk when you were young. When you went to see your friends, we didn't own a car when we were young, right? You had to walk or go over there and on your bicycle to say hi. So anyway, when was the last time one of you guys got on a bicycle? It's fantastic. It's a blast. Every one of you guys can ride a bike. So I really encourage you to do that and find ways to walk or bike on some of these short little tiny trips that you're taking around the neighborhood, okay? Do not get in that car if you don't have to. All right, another one is we gotta walk up and down the stairs. This happens all the time everywhere we go. All right, some of you guys work in a big multi-story office, okay? You got an elevator. Guess what you do? You hop on the elevator every time. Walk up those stairs, guys. Some of you guys go to the mall. Guess what? You got escalators and elevators at the mall. You don't even want to walk up one story, for goodness sakes. A lot of you guys travel. I do too. At the airport, they got those huge high elevators. Screw it. I never get on. I always walk up all those stairs. I don't care how tall they are. So guys, avoid elevators and escalators. Start walking up the stairs everywhere, okay? Another one is parking. I see this all the time. It's so funny. When I go to the gym, a lot of times it'll be just packed, okay? And the parking lot's packed. And so I will watch a car circle that parking lot over and over and over looking for a parking place real close to the front door. When in reality, there's tons of parking places, but they're about 100 yards away on the far side of the parking lot. Okay, so whether you're going to the gym or shopping at the mall or even to the office parking, I don't care. Park as far away as possible and then walk your lazy butt to where you're going. That's another easy one, okay? Same thing in airports. I mentioned that just a minute ago when we were talking about going up and down the stairs. Think how many times you have 2 or 3 hour layovers at an airport. And what do? You sit there, you get on your computer, you get on your phone, you just sit around. Perfect time to start walking, okay? And don't drag your suitcase behind you. Man, that's fantastic. Pick that thing up and walk with it. And when one arm gets tired, move it over to the other arm. When we do that at the gym, that's called a farmer's carry. That's actually an exercise, okay? So walk. And then, especially if your flight is at a different terminal and it's a long way away, don't get on that tram unless it's an emergency and you're running out of time. But if you have 2 or 3 hours, walk from terminal to terminal. God, what a great way. You can get in miles and miles of walking at the airport instead of sitting on your ass that whole time. Another one that a lot of guys do, and it's when they play golf. I'm a big golfer. Everybody wants to take a golf cart. That's an American thing, by the way. When you go to Europe, they highly discourage golf carts. And when I was in Scotland, you had to get a special slip from your doctor saying you had a medical reason to need a golf cart. Hell, everybody takes golf carts in the United States. Terrible. All right, I always walk, and guess what? That's 8 miles. An 18-hole golf course is roughly an 8-mile walk and 1,500 calories. Remember, that's almost a half a pound of fat right there, okay? Another one is mowing your own lawn. I have a big lawn at my house, okay? So many of us, especially as we get older, we've got lazy and we pay somebody to mow our lawn for us. Hell, get your ass out there, mow your own lawn, save a ton of money, burn a lot of calories. It's a win-win-win. Same thing goes with your car. Instead of driving it through the car wash, do a hand wash on your car. Once again, you're going to save money and burn a lot of calories, and you're moving, guys. Your dog, okay. I got my trusty Mojo. He always wants to go on a walk. Everybody's dog always wants to go on a walk, okay. Get out there, take the dog for the walk. And then also, guess what? Your wife probably needs a walk too, doesn't she? Now, I don't want to compare her to a dog. I'll get in a lot of trouble. Matter of fact, you'll get in all the trouble. But take your wife, your girlfriend for a walk. I promise. They need it probably just as bad as you do. And guys, just add cardio to everything in your daily life. Try to push yourself. The goal is not to make everything easy for yourself. The goal is to make things harder. I'm always looking for ways to push myself out of my comfort zone. So that's tip number 1. Okay, let's go on to tip number 2, and that is you have to eat whole foods and avoid all those processed foods. And unfortunately, the vast majority of what we see on the shelves in the grocery store are processed foods. So guys, there's a couple of sayings, you've probably heard them. You are what you eat, and abs are made in the kitchen. And I cannot stress the importance of that. Those sayings are so true, okay? It's critical that we avoid all these horrible processed foods and start eating whole. Now guys, I understand these processed foods taste great. Look, I'm not some crazy robot, okay? I'm not a perfect man. I'm craving all the same things you guys are craving. But guess what? One of the few things that we have total control over in our lives is what we put in our mouth, okay? Look, we don't always have control over our investments in the stock market or our personal life. Things are going wrong. We get sick. Our friends and loved ones get sick. You have no control over that. Even a lot of stuff at work you have no control over. But damn it, nobody is holding a gun to your head and forcing you to eat like shit, okay? It's hard at first, but as you get used to it, you're going to find that it becomes so much easier to eat healthy. And that doesn't mean you have to be perfect. Hell, I cheat, I break down, I just forget and do stupid stuff. But that doesn't mean I totally give up. I just get right back on the bandwagon and start eating correct, okay? So guys, avoid those processed foods. Now, there is a ton of evidence that says when we start eating whole foods, it has all these tons of great benefits for us. I mean, it reduces inflammation. It actually increases the elasticity of your skin. And what does that mean? It means, we have fewer wrinkles. I mean, that's fantastic. It makes your hair look healthier. It gives you a lot more energy. I mean, the correct foods literally boost your body's production of testosterone. I mean, and we've talked about how great that is and how important that is. So guys, tons of things that go right when we eat good whole foods, and tons of things that go down the drain when we start cheating and eating all those processed food. So let's get into the obvious question. What is processed and what's a whole food? Guys, a lot of people, just assume that you know what, I'm talking about that when I say processed or whole foods. But guess what? If something that you're eating didn't come out of the ground looking like that, or come off the vine looking like that, or come off a tree looking like it does when you're about to put it in your mouth, then it's probably processed, okay? So that is a real quick down and dirty way. Now, there's also degrees of being processed, okay? So, oatmeal didn't come out of the ground looking like that, right? It was made from oats, and it was, slightly processed, but it was slightly processed, okay? As opposed to flour, which is highly processed, okay, and then turned into bread and all kinds of other things. So you gotta know just the very basics about what's a whole food, what's a processed food. So any kind of a fruit that you're starting to put in your mouth, that's a whole food. It came off the vine that way, or out of the ground, or off the tree looking that way, okay? But like orange juice, did that orange juice just come out of a spring looking? No, It was processed. Now it's not processed a lot. It was just squeezed, but still, guys, you're losing a lot of the fiber, okay, that is in an orange when you eat a real whole orange versus drinking just the juice. All right, that's tip number 2. All right, let's move on to the final tip, number 3, the one I mentioned earlier that is something you've probably never even thought about. And that is, guys, I really recommend that you make a concerted effort to make friends with people much younger than you. And I don't mean just 5 or 10 years younger. That doesn't really count. I'm talking about people a lot younger. So some of my best friends, and I know this sounds a little bizarre, but some of my best buddies are in their 20s and 30s. Hell, I'm 56 years old. And let me tell you, I love being around these guys. It just improves my energy levels and my outlook on life. I laugh more. It kind of reminds me of how exciting everything was when I was young. So guys, get out of your normal comfort zone when it comes to all these friends. I don't mean you got to dump all your buddies your same age. It's just normal. Almost all my buddies that I hang out with all the time are my age. But still, I got a handful of guys that I go out with and do things with on a semi-regular basis that are, 20, 30 years younger than me, and I absolutely love it. And I meet some of these guys at the gym and on the golf course, okay? You go to the gym all the time, you see the same faces, man, you say hi, what's going on, you get to, to a point where you finally say, screw it, let's go get a drink, bro, let's go out and get a beer. And then all of a sudden, become friends. Same thing on the golf course. Golf is one of the only sports where you can actually get better as you get older. And I'm a pretty good golfer, and so, I can kick butt on most of these 20 and 30-year-olds on the golf course, and of course they respect that, and we laugh about it. And guess what? Now we're good friends. So, guys, get out of your comfort zone. Find some young people to befriend, and it's fantastic for them too. It's great for them to have an older mentor in their life, and then you're going to get so much out of this relationship. And it's a weird feeling, but we have forgotten how things used to be when we were in our 20s. Don't you remember how everything was exciting? Hey, let's get in the car and just go drive someplace. Golly, everything was fun. Now it's like, oh God, I don't want to get in the car. So being around these young guys really jazzes up your energy level and gives you a completely different perspective on life. And the other thing is, I use my young buddies as a way to push myself and to challenge myself. I mean, hell, they're young and they can do things that, I can't do, quite so well anymore. So I actually will compete against some of these guys. A good example is one of my very close friends. He's a captain in the Marine Reserves. He's 27. His name's Austin Sullivan. And he and I used to work out a lot when he lived here in Austin, Texas. Then he moved away and I don't see him so much. He's got a girlfriend. He's on deployment now in South America. And so I've kind of lost motivation a little bit, so I recently challenged him to a contest that I know I can't win. I'm challenging him to a 1 mile run, a 1/4 mile run, and a 500-meter row on an indoor rowing machine. So he's going to kick my ass, okay? Matter of fact, I already know what some of his mile time is versus mine. He's over a minute faster than me. But I'm going to start working on it. I'm going to start trying to, catch up to him. I don't think I'm ever going to get there, but wow, what a great way to inspire myself and push myself. And it's all just because I've opened up my mind to embracing younger people. Okay, so to sum it all up, the 3 tips are, guys, move, move, move. You got to get your butts up and start moving like we did when we were young, okay? The second one is whole foods. Sounds simple, but guys, it's far, far more important than you realize. Avoid all those processed foods, start eating healthy whole foods. And then finally, the really interesting twist on this whole thing is embrace some much younger friends. You're going to be surprised at what it does to your attitude and your energy levels. It's really, really fun. So guys, be sure and like this video, subscribe to this channel, share it with some of your friends out there, and post comments. I want to know what you're thinking. And finally, guys, do not ever give up. Always stick with it, guys, and never give up on yourself.